Graduated from being duettists to singer-songwriters. We're moving up in the world.
À la roulette de la vie, t'as tout gagné, moi j'ai perdu. Alors j'ai bu, oh j'ai bu.
The new style was realism, the words, not the rhythms, make chanson française distinct as an art form. In America, it's the musique. In France, it's the lyrics that are telling the story and giving the listener an experience. I was tired of the music business, throwing sand in people's eyes and saying that love was perfect and oh, life was so beautiful. Chanson réaliste is the raw tales of love found and love lost, of loneliness, bitter regret, and intoxicated l'amour. Most French songwriters are people without high school education, like me. They come from the streets. In chanson française, a sort of street wisdom can become literature, like country western music in the United States and troubadour in the Arab music. I love the French language because it's rich, and French songs arouse emotion in the singer and the audience. Melancholy, long after the song is concluded.
Mr. Aznavour's style revolutionized the classic French chanson, creating his own Aznavourian genre, a mix of French soul music, blues, jazz, ballads, pop music, and lyrical poetry. While best known around the world as a singer, Mr. Aznavour considers himself first and foremost a songwriter. For him, the chanson français is quite simply the art of telling stories to music.
How they like me. Roche and I were making a name for ourselves at the clubs in Paris during occupied France, where my family home became a refuge for Jews and resistance workers. There was one man in particular, Misak Manouchian. Like my parents, he was an orphan from the Armenian genocide. He chose not to stand by silently and witness yet another genocide. He became part of Les Résistants when he was awaiting execution. He sent a postcard to my mother telling her that
your son will bring honor to the Armenian people and bring glory to France.
His words helped reassure my mother and planted hope. The Aznavours were one of 25 Armenian families who saved Jews during the Holocaust and were recognized in doing so. So, we kept working while Paris was under siege. Even though the communication lines were cut and the trains were late, we always found a way. We signed up to play in places where no other artist would dare. Once, we got a contract in Saumur, and we rode 157 miles on bicycle. Although we needed a permit to travel, we risked it because while most artists were terrified of being arrested, Roche and I were afraid of being out of work. But by May of 1945, the war came to an end and our freedom returned. Finally, the streets of Paris were alive again and performers were in demand. The nightclubs reopened and waited for audiences in the Pigalle district, which would have the largest concentration of Allied soldiers. In the meantime, my wedding date was set with Micheline, and we were married at the Armenian church on Rue Jean Goujon, in the 8th arrondissement by the Champs-Élysées. The priest had purposefully scheduled our wedding after a wealthy French-Armenian couple. Micheline and I were married like millionaires, even though I only had 50 francs in my pocket. So we lived in this noisy, small apartment as I continued writing songs with Roche, running to publishers and stars. We wrote jazzy songs, romantic ones. Soon Micheline was pregnant. And the day before my 23rd birthday, my daughter, Patricia Seda Aznavour, was born. Micheline and I, we were living an adolescent love affair. Which is to say, we spent our time laughing, loving, running around with our friends. Micheline sang in a nightclub, Roche and I in another. We all got together in cheap little bistros with other artists. hungry in our stomachs than in our ambitions. This next song is a farewell to the last days of Bohemian Montmartre, when we were young without work, without a cent. The golden age, l'âge d'or. I always felt a mixture of regret and remorse then. I was too busy bringing home hard-earned cash and living my lost youth to the full, which could have only led to problems with my budding family. I was living the life of an artist, a starving artist, who wasn't seeking fame or riches, but to perfect my craft, to come alive on stage. I can feel myself getting closer and closer.
ciel de Paris s'envole une chanson.
If only Piaf had called us. Piaf was a magic name. It meant consecration for a composer or performer. We submitted songs to her without success. But I was drawn into her strange world one night in 1946. The course of my life changed. Rosh and I were booked as the opening act of a radio show with a live audience at Seoul, Washington. No sooner had I set foot on stage than I got the surprise of my life. I saw Edith Piaf, Charles Trenet, together with the Prince of Publishers, Harout, all in the front row.
Would it break your jaw to come and say hi? Either you're dumb or you're scared of me.
Perhaps a little of both.
Did you write those songs?
I wrote the words, Roche wrote the music.
Who is Roche?
It's my music partner.
How come you never show me your songs?
I came, I telephoned. Getting an appointment with Mademoiselle Piaf is no easy matter.
Well, what are you doing this evening?
I'm going home to my wife.
Ah, merde! Another one who is married. What is wrong with all of you tying yourselves down? She might as well wait for you in the end. Follow us.
Here we were at last, in the Rue de Berry in Piaf's living room, which only the chosen were privileged to see.
Are you Jewish?
I'm Armenian.
What does that mean?
It would take too long to explain.
I know, well, it's better you didn't. Why are you in mourning? Who died?
I was the object of curiosity for the evening, and depending on the results of the exam, I would be the party's whipping boy, or I would be considered worthy of belonging to Piaf's entourage.
So you know how to waltz?
Finally, I felt at home. I was back on familiar ground, and my shyness evaporated. Teeth clenched. I decided to dance the all night via two, but I wanted her to ask for mercy, to understand that she was dealing with a real man. I didn't know what she thought of the Roche Aznavour act, but I wanted her to remember Aznavour the dancer for the rest of her life.
Well, my friend, I must say, you're a very good dancer. You could waltz on a plate.
What a woman. Within 24 hours, she plunged me into a new world. She would keep the handcuffs around my wrists for 8 years, but evolved into a lasting tenderness for her and her memory for the rest of my life.
Well, I've decided to give you a chance. We're going on tour with the Compagnon de la Chanson. You will open up for us, introduce us during the interval. We leave tomorrow morning.
Soon, the tour hit financial difficulty, but nothing stops Edith.
If anything happens, you and I get by singing in the streets. We come from the same stock, but the others, they will have to be sent home.
During the tour, she wrote me from Sweden.
I could never have believed that I would miss you, your little sister from the streets, Eddie. I always thought that was just a word. They sang about it, songs I heard. It took your kisses to reveal that I was wrong and love is free. Hold me close and hold me fast. The magic spells you cast. This is la vie en rose. As you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see la vie en rose. gives your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en
I brought her my youth and my madness. She loved my old jazzy side. So much so that one night, she said it was too bad that we couldn't join her on a North American tour in New York City performances while we were broke. But there is no such word as cant in Armenian, and definitely not in Franco-Armenian. Between advances and my father taking on an extra job, pushing a wheelbarrow of goods up the hills of Montmartre, an image I can never remove from my mind. I was able to buy a plane ticket. We were all set for America, New York, maybe even Hollywood. It was going to be ours from now on. Well, we had plans anyway.
À 18 ans, j'ai quitté ma Provence, ayant décidé à me poigner la vie. Le cœur léger et le bagage immense, j'étais certain de conquérir Paris. Chez le tailleur le plus chic, j'ai fait faire ce comble bleu qui était du dernier prix. Les photos, les chansons et les orchestrations ont eu raison de mes économies. Je me voyais déjà en haut de l'affiche, en 10 fois plus gros que n'importe qui, mon nom s'étalait. Je me voyais déjà à nous les riches, signant des photos admirateurs qui se bousculaient. J'étais le plus grand des grands vendeuxistes, raison de succès si faute que les gens m'acclamaient debout. Je me voyais déjà cherchant dans ma liste celle qui le soir pourrait par faveur se prendre mon cours.
We couldn't wait to surprise Edith and show her we made it to the bright lights of Broadway. Hey, but we forgot one thing. Actually, 3. We had no visa, no money, no English. But we made it to the capital of the world, and our first stop was a holding cell in Ellis Island to await deportation. Once they realized that we were not a threat, they let us go. And we dashed over to Carnegie Hall to see a brilliant concert by Stan Kenton. On another evening, we went to see the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall. And the Broadway Cinema, where Artie Shaw's band was playing, and where we gorged on hot dogs. Hot dog. I discovered Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Dizzy Gillespie. Piaf. The little sparrow. She was surprised to see us. And she recommended we start off in the Quartier Latin in Montreal. So off we went. And after years of struggle, we became quite popular in Montreal and performed there for 2.5 years. You should have seen it. You should have seen it. The standing ovations we received, I wanted to kiss them all. Everyone shook our hands and congratulated us. We signed autographs. Osh and I each earned $400 a week. Edith,